Here's the number one question you need to ask yourself if you're trying to heal your nervous system. Stick with me. This is probably the most important video that you're ever going to watch on my channel. Before I give you this number one question, I want to say something very heartfelt and from the deepest care for all of you. Truly heal from chronic anxiety, from chronic depression, from constantly feeling like you're being tossed around by life, waking up exhausted and not having a very awesome quality of life. I'm Danielle Rubio. I'm a somatic therapist and a mindfulness teacher, and let's get into it. My PSA that I want to start out with is that there is a lot of noise in the somatic world. And I remember telling a colleague recently, let's not do to somatics what we did to yoga. And what I mean by that is very much sort of spiritually washing and making anything and everything somatic. So we see it online all the time now. Somatic jogging, somatic working out, somatic this, and really anything that has anything to do with your body is technically somatic because soma is the Greek word for body. It simply means having to do with the body. We also see it with the word nervous system regulation. So breath work to regulate the nervous system, handstands to regulate the nervous system, jogging to regulate the nervous system. And so these buzzwords, somatic and nervous system regulation, are being used very just willy-nilly out there. So I want you to be discerning about the education that you're taking in and the practices that you're trying, because a lot of people out there that are giving information and giving education are not really qualified to be giving education around the nervous system. They're not really trained with somatic therapy to be leading anyone. And there is a lot of misleading. There's a lot of miseducation around there. And unfortunately, it's keeping people still stuck. And I feel really passionate about this because I have tried everything under the sun to heal. You name it, I've done it. From many different plant medicine ceremonies to various meditation techniques to Reiki to all the manifestation practices to traditional cognitive behavioral therapy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when I found true nervous system work backed by neuroscience, and I found deeply profound ancient mindfulness techniques, I realized that this was the Holy Grail, and that when done properly, there's no way that you're not going to reach limitless heights. And I say reach limitless heights because, there is no destination, really. Your healing just keeps growing exponentially. It's aha moment after aha moment and freedom release after freedom release. And you really understand how infinite you are and how unstoppable you are. And I want you all to have that in your lives as well. So that's why I want to give this PSA of being discerning. And I want to tell you that the number one question that you want to ask yourself and you want to get that answer to, if you're wanting to truly regulate your nervous system and truly know that in your bones what regulation is, the question is my nervous system sensing calm as a threat? Is my nervous system sensing relaxation as unsafe? So that might have taken your head for a little tailspin there because it's like, wait a minute, I thought I was trying to feel calm. I thought I was trying to feel safe. And yes, we are wanting to feel better, right? But if your nervous system is sensing the very calm that you're seeking as unsafe, you are not going to get there. Bottom line, your nervous system is queen. You might have heard me say this a lot in my Instagram channel. Your nervous system is going to win every single time. Your nervous system is going to win over your willpower. Your nervous system is going to win over your thinking brain. Your nervous system is ancient. Your nervous system is what has brought the human race as far as we've gotten. Over millions of years in evolution, the nervous system is what has kept our species safe and thriving. The nervous system's main job is keeping you alive, and it's doing so by sensing what is a threat, what is safety. And if your nervous system is sensing that this calm feeling, this relaxing feeling is actually dangerous, is unsafe, your nervous system's not going to allow you to stay there. That's why so often I have women who come to me for my one-to-one program saying that, they'll feel this sense of relief. They'll feel this calm for what seems like moments, and then their hypervigilance is back in, or they'll feel really good maybe for a couple days after they do some meditation retreat. And then there's the hypervigilance again, or they'll feel really great after doing some nervous system regulation techniques, even that I will have given them. And then there comes the hypervigilance, the fight or flight, the constantly worrying about everything, the insomnia, all the stress comes rushing back in. And often that is because the nervous system is sensing calm as a threat. So let's get into why would the nervous system sense calm as unsafe? So there's three main reasons why the nervous system is going to sense that calmness is not safe for you. The number one reason, or number one out of these three, actually number three is probably the most important. So let's start with number one. Number one is that you have been raised, you were brought up as a child in a dysfunctional household, and most of us were. So there's no shame in this game, and that's something that's really important to take in. There's no shame. All of us grew up in some sort of dysfunction, and I'm going to talk about more of that when I get to point number three, or reason number three. And so we grew up in these environments where chaos was the norm, where emotional dysregulation was the norm. And we are creatures that love familiarity. Your nervous system loves predictability. Your brain loves predictability. And so if you grew up, especially from 10 and under, you grew up in a chaotic environment. You grew up in an uncertain environment where there was a lot of chaos, whether there was any sort of abuse or there wasn't. There doesn't have to have been. Even neglect can feel chaos. So for whatever reason, there's a lot of different colors of chaos. If you grew up in this sort of dysfunction, then that's what your system takes as familiar. And because we want that familiarity because it's predictable, our thinking brain knows what to do about that. Our beliefs love to be reinforced. So we're always going to choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So that's number one of why the nervous system is taking that calm as unsafe, because this is unpredictable. This is unfamiliar. Let's get back to this hypervigilance. Let's get back to constantly being in a fight or flight, because that's what we know, right? We know what to work with here. We know how to handle this. And this is where that sensing of like the other shoe's always going to drop, right? It's one of the biggest things that women mention to me when they're stepping into the one-to-one work with me, is that there's always this sense like the other shoe's going to drop. And that's very much your nervous system actually trying to protect you. It's like, nope, we can't trust this calm. We can't trust this relaxation. We don't know what this is about. Let's keep you revved up so that you're not ever caught off guard, right? So we want that predictability. And if we're constantly scanning for danger and we're never in a relaxed place, that's giving the nervous system and the limbic system of the brain this sense or this belief of like, if I'm always watching in defense, nothing's going to slip by me. Number two reason your nervous system does not trust calm is because when there's more calm, when there's more quietude, so to speak, there's more spaciousness, that's often when you start to feel. So you might have noticed this when you're going to bed at night, and I hear this a lot from my insomniac clients, that once there's quietude, that's when a lot of stuff starts rising up. A lot of the stuff that you've been numbing out with all the chaos will start to rise. And a lot of times, if you've been in this hyperdrive mode, which most humans, particularly in the West, have been, and that quietude sets in, then what arises is often not comfortable. And we don't want to feel that pain. We don't want to feel that discomfort. And especially if we grew up in a society that did not teach us how to feel. And we grew up in families that didn't model how to feel, that didn't model emotional regulation, that didn't model understanding that all emotions are sacred. We automatically have this fear of feeling. We want to numb it out. We don't want to feel the grief that might be under the hood, or the sadness that might be under the hood, or the anger, or the extreme fear that's under the hood. So when we're constantly having a lot of chaos in life, especially in our heads, right? Like constantly overthinking is often a way that we're keeping our attention from going down into the body. If it's constantly up here trying to micromanage life in the folds of thoughts, then we don't have to feel. If there's so much busyness in our life, if there's so much chaos, if there's so much drama in our life, then we don't have to feel. You can think of how we are with ourselves and how we are with stress, challenges in life is kind of like a muscle. And if that muscle's essentially atrophied, and so we've kind of numbed ourselves out and disconnected from our bodies. And then when that sense of feeling what's under the hood starts to arise, it can feel really scary. So we keep the mode of operation hyperdrive chaos so we don't have to face ourselves. Number 3, probably the most robust reason that the nervous system is sensing calm as dangerous, or is sensing relaxation, sensing that peacefulness as something that it can't trust, is that we have been so incredibly conditioned in this society, especially in the West, especially in the United States, to go, 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 don't stop till you drop. So humans, of all the animals, the human species is very, 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 very much innately wired to relate our survival to our connection with the tribe. So we have to maintain attachment to our tribe to survive, because that is literally what we had to do over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. We had to work together as a tribe to survive. It's only in this tiny sliver of human evolution that we've become hyper independent, hyper isolated in nuclear families, not operating in community, not operating in tribe. But our nervous systems are the same nervous systems we've always had. These nervous systems that know safety is through connection. Safety is with community. And when we've been conditioned in our society that the mode of operation is go, 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 constantly produce, nonstop production, nonstop consumerism, then that is what we know as acceptable. We want to be accepted in our tribe. So we are going to behave in the way that we sense is the most safe to keep us attached to our tribe, keep us attached to our caregivers is essentially where it starts when we're little ones. And so when we have this conditioning, not just from family caregivers, but in our schools, in our churches, in our places where we are in community, of this kind of hyperness, this sort of like we glamorize busyness, glamorize the constantly being in a rush, if it means that we are productive. So we don't want to lose our attachment, because that at a nervous system level is dangerous for us, because humans in the hundreds of thousands of years that we've been evolving, if we were ever cast out from our tribe, that would mean death. So it literally is a matter of life or death as far as the nervous system is concerned. It's a matter of life or death to stay attached, to stay accepted by the tribe. So we change how we are. And now, for the past many decades, that way of being has become chaos. And if we are constantly in this rush, 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 that's what's acceptable. And so often when there's this quietude or this peace, it's like the nervous system is sensing, where's the production? The brain, because we form these beliefs, The brain is starting to deliver the thoughts of like, uh-oh, mayday, mayday, SOS. You're not producing. You're not doing something. You're not consuming something. You can't just have this space. You can't just have this silence, this emptiness. That is not safe. You're going to get kicked out of the tribe. Like, come on, let's go. Let's get back to the go, go, go. Nike, just do it. So it's not just about, and this is also very real of like, if I have space and quietude and spaciousness and I'm not producing, I might lose my shelter or lose my food. That's also incredibly real, right? Especially when this gap between rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is why I'm always saying trauma work is social justice work. And it's why I'm always saying this is nobody's fault and it's everybody's fault. We as a collective have created a myth of normal. We've created as a collective a very toxic way of existing on this planet with all the other sentient beings on this planet, with ourselves, inwardly, in community, in relationship. So it's not just this, I might not have food and shelter, which is also very important, but it's also equally important of I won't be accepted if I'm not in this hyper productive, and being hyper productive is chaos. So these are the three main ways that the nervous system is sensing that peace can potentially be dangerous to you. So what to do about it then? So this is where all the other videos on my channel come into play. You want to teach your system what is safe. And you want to have the right neurosensory practices to reestablish this connection with how to feel, with feeling your body. That's the first step. We want to reestablish our connection with feeling, with connecting to the body, because that's where our answers lie. And each of us have our own little flavor of dysfunction that we grew up in. And so we're all stuck in a little bit of different ways. Some are more in flop, some are more in flight, some are more in fight, some are more in fawn. So it's important to have the right tools for you. And all of my channel is all teaching you how to do that, how to reestablish safety in your nervous system, how to be able to feel, because that's where it all starts. We have to show ourselves that feeling is not scary and that feeling is the way out, so that we can release all of the stored survival stress, so that we can unwind all of these false beliefs. So check out the rest of my channel. There's lots of practices. There's lots of ways that we unwind this conditioning that's kept us in this hypervigilance. And if you want to go the full deep dive into yourself and you want this one-to-one guidance to see exactly where your nervous system might be stuck, then schedule a call with me. The link is in the caption, and I can help you sort out where your nervous system is actually stuck. This call is free. So if you're wanting to heal that chronic anxiety, chronic depression, then give yourself this gift. Get on a call and let's see where your steps need to lie so that you can make your way home to yourself again.